Yeah.
Mark.
Just give me a second to compose myself.
Come on, Mark. Go, Mark.
Woo!
Come on, Mark.
You're a fantastic ass.
Wow. You know, public speaking is the #1 fear of all Americans. And according to Jerry Seinfeld, most people would prefer to be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. But lucky for all of you, I have a greater fear of death than speaking out loud at my brother's birthday. Wedding to Jennifer, which is why we're all here today. I'm still on duck, so forgive me. Although I did go off cuff there. Thank you. 60-person wedding sounded not that big until I had to speak in front of you with a toast. And now it feels like it might be 600 people. 60 or 600 if you screw up, what difference does it make, I guess? So congratulations to everybody here who made the cut.
Yes.
If you're sitting here today, that means you're very special to the bride and groom, whose names I'm blanking on, but they're related to one of them. They're both. I'd like to give a little acknowledgement, though, to the people that made the cut, but were not able to make it here today. First is my sister Dawn, who we love very much, and my nieces and nephews, Evan and Jaden, the children of Jackie and Ben, who are over there. Jackie, raise your hand, and Ben, also raise your hand, please. Thank you. Woo! And Alec and Jamie, who are Dawn's kids, and they can't raise their hands because they're not here today. I'd like to give a shout out to our close and dear friend, Jameis, who was unable to make it here today and is in a lot of ways responsible for us being here today. And of course my parents, Paul and Carol, who would be very proud and happy to be here today, and I know would be filled with joy. So, as I speak into the microphone, giving a speech about my brother and his beautiful wife, not as eloquent as Ron or Diana, I decided I'm going to go through the story of my brother's life, starting with chapter 1. November 3rd, 1980. Right? That's your birthday. David clawed his way through the birthing canal to wreak havoc on this world, and has been doing so ever since. He had a pretty typical childhood, I would say. He did all the things a child loves to do. He liked to play basketball and collect basketball cards and play with G.I. Joes and beat his friend Danny Pimer in video games. That's what he says. I don't know if Danny really won or not, but anyway. And it was a great time. We had a great time together. As he grew into a man, his tastes evolved and his hobbies changed. And today he loves to watch basketball and collect basketball cards and play with G.I. Joes. Actually, I don't think there's much that's changed, really. And he still plays Danny Piper in video games. I don't think anything's changed. Well, I don't know. That's essentially, in a nutshell, his life. Chapter 2. December 19th, 1997. Tragedy. The 76ers trade Jerry Stackhouse to the Detroit Pistons for Eric Montross, Aaron McKee, Theo Ratliff, and potentially a draft pick. I don't know if Danny says no. I think on the internet it said yes, and possibly a draft pick. You know, as a lifelong Sixer fan, my brother was devastated. And I bring this up not because he was devastated, but because it exemplifies his passion for things in life. A distraught David locked himself in his bedroom, tore the posters off his wall, cursed the team, shed tears, and then beat Danny Pimer in video games. But tragedy has a way of creating opportunity. And because of that trade, the 76ers, a few years later, were able to make it to the NBA Finals in 2001, led by Allen Iverson. But they lost. But there's something in there, so I think that's an important thing. As a side note, I did try to get Jerry Stackhouse to attend this wedding, but no, he wasn't. He wasn't going to come. He didn't make the cut. Chapter 3. May 17th, 2014. The Hunt. I met Jen several months earlier on a typical New York night on the town. I was out with my entourage, which most likely consisted of Keon, raise your hand, thank you. Paul Martin, please raise your hand. Clark, please raise your hand. And our good friend Jameis. Now, those of you who don't know Jameis, he's Clark's youngest brother. And essentially, he's a younger, taller, more attractive, and socially pleasant gentleman. That's not to say that Clark does not have any of those qualities. He's also very beautiful, and he looks like a professor. Well, let's put it this way. Picture Thor, but a lot skinnier, and probably wouldn't be able to help the Avengers out. But he looks like that. So when we ran into this lovely group of ladies out on the town, it was Jameis's job to go and make contact, as he normally does. And we became fast friends ever since. Next page. I knew immediately, and when I say immediately, I don't mean kind of immediately, I mean immediately, that Jen was going to be perfect for my brother. I just had this sixth sense that kind of popped into my head. She was beautiful, kind, empathic, and had a great sense of humor that matches my brother's brand of comedy, which is a mixture of sarcastic, slightly crass, and off-kilter. Like a Tim and Eric type thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. That guy knows what I'm talking about. So I decided to invite Jen to something called the Radnor Hunt, which is an annual horse show in Radnor, Pennsylvania. That's sort of in the vein of the Kentucky Derby, but not as good. And but very fun. People wear fancy clothes, pastel colors, they drink fancy drinks. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to introduce David to Jen, or Jen to David, however you want to think about that. Jen, I remember very specifically, Jen wore a very beautiful pink dress with a large oversized hat. And not to be outdone, David also showed up in a lovely pink halter dress with high heels to show off his beautiful calves. And everybody knows that Epstein men have very beautiful legs. In fact, we get complimented on them, and many women are jealous of them. So, take that. And it was love at first sight. They've been inseparable pretty much ever since, which might be a problem, but maybe not. They spend all of their time together. They love each other greatly. And it's just been such a pleasure to see this relationship grow and become the type of friendship and romantic relationship that it is. Which brings me to chapter 5. There's only 600 chapters. So
We have all night.
okay, perfect. We have all night. So chapter 5, May 31st, 2023, aka today. I could not be more proud of the culmination of their loving relationship. Not just because I introduced them, and also Jameis, Clark's brother, but because it's so lovely to see a genuine, loving relationship flourish. I love my brother, and I love my new sister. I've always wanted a sister. I mean, I've always wanted a younger sister. I've always wanted a younger sister. Sure. And I know that my parents, who are not here today, but, oh, by the way, I don't know if people, this is off the cuff, but if those who attended the wedding, who I think is everybody here, noticed that there were 2 chairs at the front with what is referred to as a talus on the 2 chairs to represent my mother and my father. That is a religious shawl that is used to trap in the souls of loved ones that are no longer with us, to bring them closer to us. And it's like the Ghostbusters with a proton pack. Oh, now I'm off the rails. Oh, boy. Okay. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that my mother and father love Jen so much, and I know that if they were here today, they would be so incredibly proud, as am I. And I cannot wait to read the rest of the chapters that have yet to be written in the story of their lives. And so I'd like to say Mazel Tov to both of you, and I think that's about it for me. Thank you.